Hi, welcome to April 30th, first of all. And I'm sorry, I'm still wearing my barber shirt. I can't take it off. I don't smell that bad. Um, I wore this yesterday when I did the introductory review to Cries and Whispers and talked a little bit about that. But today I was going to talk about Maria and one of the characters, one of the sisters. And so you have to watch the introductory review because I'm not going to spend time talking about what was spoken there. Okay, so we have the character of Maria. So this, I don't think this is established in the film, but the way I see the order of the sisters in terms of age is that Karen is the oldest, and Maria is the middle, and Agnes, the one who's dying of cancer, is the younger sister. And I don't know why I say that because I don't think that's been was said in the film, but I just get that feeling, which makes it more dramatic too and more devastating that the younger sister would be the one dying. And but when I was thinking about what I was going to say about Maria and the fact of one of the facts of her being an older sister, I mean middle sister, was the first thing that popped in my mind was the Brady Bunch, Marsha, 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 and but in Ingmar Bergman's Cries and Whispers, there's none of this Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. I don't think Maria wants to be like Karen at all. In fact, probably just the opposite. But so I thought about Maria, and I thought like, what would be a good like definition of her? First of all, she's very beautiful. I mean, of the three sisters, she's the most striking, and of course, Lee Allman plays her, and Lee Allman is a very strikingly beautiful woman. In fact, I don't know if this is a side note, but he actually was walking down the street, Ingmar Bergman, and saw B.B. Anderson, who he had worked with, walking with Lee Bowman, and he stopped B.B. to talk to her. And Lee Bowman, who he had never met before, was standing there, and he said, "Would you like to be in my next movie?" And then, hence, there she was in many of his movies. So he must have seen something besides just the fact that she was beautiful, or maybe Bergman is what I'm just getting ready to talk about with Maria. And the thing I was thinking about with Maria, and the best way to kind of talk about her, is something that was not a term that I know of that was being used when this film was made, but it is quite common to talk about now, and that's sex addict. Um, she strikes me as a sex addict. Um, and I say that because she has two relationships in the film. One with the doctor who's treating Agnes, and the other is actually her husband, named Joaquin, not Joaquin Phoenix, but Joaquin. And with the doctor, um, she's very seductive when he comes over to check on Agnes, and they clearly had some sort of sexual affair, but she uses her sexuality big time to try to seduce him. And there's a marvelous scene, one of the many in this film, where I think he stands up from reading his book, and he sits her down in the mirror, and he looks at the mirror, and he stands behind her, and he starts to tell her things about her face that are lines that he's noticed on her face, and how she casts quick glances when she used to look straight ahead, things of that sort. And he talks about how these changes in her facial expressions have to do with her her being sneering, also, like she used to not sneer, has to do with the fact that her indifference, her ennui, her discontentment, and things that she didn't, he felt she didn't have when he first met her, and maybe even turned her off. Now, she turns the table quite quickly on him when he makes these observations in the mirror, and she says, "It's very clear where you see these things." And he said, "Where?" And she said, "In yourself." And he kind of takes a step back, and maybe they are in his face, and he's seeing them in his face, but he's describing them to her, and as he describes them, the camera's in extreme close up of her face because we're looking for everything he's looking for, and we're not really seeing them. And he's even telling her like, "Oh no, you can't see them in this light," but we're like, "Well, okay, I should be able to see something." And some of them we see, and some of them we don't. And but we don't see his face until she calls him out on it, and the camera pulls back to reveal him. So that's the relationship she sort of has with the doctor, is a very seductive, very sex addict sort of approach to him. The other relationship she has is with her husband, Joaquin. Now, this is clearly a very depressed man, a very sad man. We don't know why he's as sad as he is. We don't know why he's depressed as he is. I mean, he's married to someone who's very beautiful. She dresses to the nines. So, you know, what's up? But this particular scene, I think she's caring for Anna's, the housekeeper's daughter, when she was still alive. And he goes up to her, or she says, we're going to have dinner with the Eggermans. I think it would be fun. And he said, we'll see. And then he goes up to her and he puts his hand on her face. And he puts his hand on the face of Anna's daughter. And then he goes in his office. And Maria knows that something is wrong. So she goes and asks the daughter to go play. And when she walks down the hallway, which seems like there's a lot of these shots where these hallways they walk down seem to be these endless corridors. When she walks to it, she walks to his office and she opens the door, and his back is to us, and he's clearly holding something. And as he turns around, he's taken what seems to be an envelope opener, or maybe something a little bit more sharper, and he stabbed himself in the stomach. And he's asking her to help her. He says, please help me, help me. And he puts his hand sort of like over his face like this, and he's in pain. And he obviously was trying to commit suicide, I would assume. But he's asking for her help, and she backs away to the door. She backs away, and her face just does this like, no, no. And at first, when I first saw the film, I thought her no had to do with the fact of like, no, what has he done, that kind of thing. But no, her nay, which is Swedish for no, is saying, no, I'm not going to help you. You know, I will not help you, and that's pretty strong. And it really establishes their relationship, which is really never really explored any further in the film. So when Agnes dies from her cancer, they all attend the vigil, and there's another wonderful scene there. And later in the film takes on a dreamlike quality after the characters have been explored a little bit more in depth, and the film really focuses on the relationship now with Karen and Maria, the older sister, and who I presume to be the middle sister, and they have a very, very distant relationship. And I might bring more light to that when I talk about Karen. But I think Maria is desperate to have a relationship with Karen, but Karen is very cold and very indifferent and very like. There's this one scene at the very beginning of the film when Maria is actually staying up watching over Agnes, and Karen comes in, and then they're taking shifts and stuff. And when Maria walks away from Karen, she puts her hand on her shoulder, and Karen just immediately does one of these. I don't think she does that, but she just stops, right? Like, you know, kind of like what I call the ironing board complex, which is what I used to have. When people would hug me, I would just be like an ironing board. I couldn't bend back. And but then, like I said, later on, there's this dreamlike sequence. It seems like a dreamlike sequence where Agnes is talking after her death to her sisters to make some sort of restitution with them, and they're called individually into the room. And once again, they all come down these long corridors to reach Agnes's room. And I don't think that's why I think it's dreamlike, because I don't think that the corridor is that long. I think it is a journey that Bergman is trying to show of them making the soul journey to restitution with Agnes. And Maria's character specifically, who I find is more, she's kind of like, if you've ever read the love languages, there's 5 love languages, and physical touch is one of them. And I think she's a very physical, touchy person, and that would tie into the fact that of her being a sex addict. And so what she does is that Agnes asks her to hold her, and so these arms, Agnes's arms, start to come up toward Lee's face, and as she grabs her behind the head, she starts to pull her head. Agnes starts to pull Maria's head toward her, and then Maria just becomes hysterical, because I think at that moment she's thinking, that she's trying to drag her into death. At least that's how she seems to be playing it, because she's screaming bloody murder. She's pounding on the door, trying to get out. It seems to be locked, and she runs away and gets out of the door. And later, Anna is the only one that really does approach Agnes and does give Agnes what Agnes is looking for. And so that's kind of like a brief synopsis. Pretty brief, pretty thorough though for me. I thought it might take much longer than a little after 10 minutes to talk about Maria, and things certainly might come up later in the final review. But what I talked about with her, I think is very right on. Uh, and Liv Ullmann, like I said, has been used in multiple Bergman films. She is a brilliant actress, not just a brilliant Swedish actress, but she's a brilliant actress. I mean, just look at what she did in Persona. I mean, she had hardly any lines, and really none except Eanting, and the word Eanting, and she did a fantastic job of acting, right up there with B.B. Anderson, and maybe it was even better. Um, so she's a great actress. She's been in Persona. She's been in Cries and Whispers. She's been in Face to Face. She's been in Hour of the Wolf. She's been in probably some other ones that are eluding me now, but she's been in quite a few films of Bergman. And not to mention, Bergman was married to her at one time. So once again, Bergman maybe knew all along when he met her on the street that it's like, yeah, I want her as an actress, but I want a little bit more from her down the road. And who can blame him? I mean, she's very beautiful, and he saw something in her, and I don't think he even asked what her acting ability was, but boy, he must have been quite surprised. But I also think it's a testament to Bergman that he gets brilliant performances out of his actresses, and I think that's a testament to what a great director is. And I tell you, there's a lot of really bad directors out there that wonder why their films turn out bad, and it's because they're bad directors, and B, they don't know how to work with actors. Some of the best films outside of Steven Spielberg, I suppose, some of the really finest films have been from actors who became directors. I never saw Braveheart, but I know Mel Gibson, won an Oscar for that. Denzel Washington with Fences, Ron Howard with A Beautiful Mind, Robert Redford, of course, with Ordinary People. I mean, I think that that's where you get some great films, is when you have directors who were actors, because they know what the actor needs. And it's a shame that there's directors out there that want to take so much control and be so power trippy to make the kind of film they want, and then they put the acting sort of like in the back seat. And that's probably why I've always never really had an appeal for films that were sort of in adventure and sort of like that kind of stuff, because it's not focused on acting, it's focused on the entertainment, which is okay. Once again, I'm not attacking the people that watch film for entertainment. I mean, that's obviously one of the reasons films are made, and we should relish that, but we should also relish those films that we also don't, well, I guess I should note to myself about the entertainment, but those films that we don't want to watch because they're like too depressing or they're too deep or whatever. I'm just wired that way, so I can't, I don't wish to be wired anywhere else. But, I mean, I have films that I consider entertaining to me. I mean, other people might find them, they're usually off the wall as far as like, they don't fit the slap. It's like don't sit me down and have me watch Dumb and Dumber and expect me to laugh, because I'm not going to laugh at that. There's nothing funny about a Dumb and Dumber guy. First of all, I can't stand that title. Second of all, it's just derogatory, and I did watch it actually, or watch part of it, and I thought, this is ridiculous. So we've got Cries and Whispers over here in masterpiece territory, and then we've got Dumb and Dumber over here in I feel like I'm flying in my apartment now. We got Dumb and Dumber over here, which is, I don't know, in a junk pile maybe? I don't know, but I know people that love that movie. So, oh my god, if y'all watch this, no hate mail. I don't do hate mail. Anyway, so that's Maria, and a brief analysis of her character, who I believe to be the middle sister of the three sisters in Ingmar Bergman's Cries and Whispers. Have a wonderful day. It's been a very slow day. I went to church this morning. Like I said, didn't take my barber shirt off, and Now, I'm not one to hide things about myself, but I've actually had nail polish on my hands and on my feet. Um, I'm very much. I'm Timothy Verret. That's my name, and I don't want to be a woman. Uh, but I did bought some nail polish one day and put it on, and it was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but no sex change operation here. Just no definition, no boxing of me as far as masculine and feminine. Who came up with these things anyway? I mean, who says women are the only ones allowed to wear? I even have some lipstick, if you can tell. I mean, who said that women are the only ones who are allowed to wear makeup any more than it says who are? I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Women not allowed to go hunting. Oh my God, did I just say that? I really gotta close this video out. I've lost my mind. Anyway, have a great day, and happy 30th. And I hope you had a great day. And I hope the Lord was good to you. He was certainly good to me, and he's always good to you. He doesn't know how to be anything else but. And it was so cute at church. I went to St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church again today, second time in a row, and they were doing their communion. And I remember when I did my communion, and all the girls had the white dresses and everything. It reminded me of Cries and Whispers, where a lot of the women wear white dresses. So I'm going overboard. Okay, bye. Love you, love God, love others. That's all the commandment he asks for. Love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and body and spirit, and love others as Jesus said, love you, or as you love yourself. And if you had trouble with that, as you love yourself part, just remember, love others as Jesus loves you. So, amen. God bless you.